Hello and welcome everybody, what is going on? So, we're here today to do a video. I think a video that a lot of people are very interested in because quite frankly we're talking about the management. We're talking about Uli Hoeness and Karl-Heinz Rummenigge. And I know people are very passionate about both of the about the topic in general, but about both these people as well. And yeah, I'm not really one of them. I'm not really that passionate about that topic because I feel like whatever happens, happens. But the topic at hand is the discussion between the difference between Uli Hoeness and Karl-Heinz Rummenigge. Now, Uli Hoeness, as I said yesterday, he recently said that we will not spend any money this transfer window. We're done in the transfer period. And that really contradicted the statement that was made by Rummenigge as well as Salihamidzic, who essentially said Salihamidzic said that we might spend on just like specific players here and there, but not much. And then he had Rummenigge, who said that if we're always looking, and if we find players that are available, then we will be prepared to spend up to 100 million this summer, and we'll certainly or might add some additional signings to the team. And then obviously Uli Hoeness yesterday said that no, that's not the case. We are not investing at all. And then today, funny enough, the good thing I waited with this video. Today, Rummenigge basically said that no, there is no decision made yet whether we're actually finished in a transfer window or not. So there's a lot of like mixed messages, and that's really what I want to talk about. They're just the mixed messages because I've seen a lot of people, and that's really the main thing. The two main things I want to talk about is the mixed message, and then just like the overall view I'm getting right now of the fan base, like the view that the fan base has on these two individuals. Primarily, the focus being on Rummenigge and Hoeness. And start off with, let's start with just them two having contradicting statements, because I think that's a good way to start. Quite frankly, in a situation like that where both of them have importance, or both of them have a say in something, and both of them have contradicting philosophies, like Rummenigge, he clearly wants to he's very much in favor of, say, removing the 50+1 rule, and he's in favor of like the Super League. He's in favor of a lot of these different things, and it obviously comes with his previous affiliation and his previous role of being, I think it was like the head of the European clubs, like the thing that he had that he then essentially didn't want anymore, and like the Juventus higher ups got. But like he used to be like basically the go-to person, the go-to spokesman for UEFA, essentially for the clubs for UEFA. And obviously, so he is obviously very knowledgeable and very adept to just the changing markets, just the changing tides, and just how everything in Europe is really changing. Obviously, with the addition of PSG, Manchester City, Chelsea, now you have teams with like a big influence of Cash Monaco as well. Obviously, he is aware of that, and he like wants to modernize not just the Bundesliga but also Bayern. So that's why every time we hear of like these 100 million transfers, that we're gonna do these and whatnot, it makes sense that most of the time they come from Rummenigge, because quite frankly he is the modern approach ultimately. Whereas Hoeness, he is more so focused on just the Bundesliga, really. Not just the Bundesliga in itself, but more so just Bayern. So that's his main priority, just Bayern. Not so much like the Bundesliga, not so much Bayern on the international stage, just Bayern itself. So you have two different perspectives. One person obviously more so focused on like the global aspects of everything, and then you have Uli Hoeness more so focused on just like the club in of itself. And I always thought it's a good thing to have two different perspectives. Multiple perspectives are always the most important things when you're running a business. So I feel like this, if you look at it as a business and not much as a club, then you could say they're doing a very good job, because you can always balance the positives and negatives of every decision. The only negative is obviously if you can't come to a decision because of your difference in opinions, which is very bad to have. I really welcome a difference in opinion, so that's why I actually like them both contradicting each other. But especially when it comes to transfers as well, because I know a lot of fans are very, very passionate about transfer. A lot of fans are very, very passionate, obviously, about football, and one of the key aspects really being is to the team to get better, which usually comes from transfers, which usually comes from bringing players in and getting rid of some certain players, and yeah. So in this case, obviously, a lot of people are siding with Rummenigge, who is obviously saying that, we're not done in the market yet, like we're still looking. If we find something that's interesting to us, we will pounce upon that, but if not, then that's that. So he's more like just has more of an open approach, whereas Uli Hoeness just had a straight up no, we're not gonna get anyone, no big signing, no signing at all, we're done for the summer. So yeah, for me, again, I feel like a difference in opinion is a very good thing to have. I know a lot of fans won't like to hear that. Don't really care what you guys think if you guys disagree with me, because again, difference in opinions is a good thing to have. Now, in regards to the topic at hand, in terms of just how the fans feel about it, some people, I'll be honest, some people are just way too over the top. As I said yesterday, I don't think we're done in the transfer window. I don't think we're done in the transfer window at all, because quite frankly, Uli Hoeness might say that we're done, but first of all, he's not the only one that makes decisions. Second of all, if a player wants to leave, he can't really just say no. He could, yes, but if if you have a bunch of players, if you're stopping players from leaving, if they want to leave, then ultimately players won't join in the future. That's just the way it is. Because then they'll be like, what, if I ever want to leave and the club, if I have a better opportunity, get more money somewhere else, or follow someone that I've wanted to follow, or play under someone I've wanted to always play under, then the club won't allow that, so I'm not going to join that club. So just the perspective of that, obviously players will not move to Bayern ultimately if we don't allow them to leave, if they do want to leave, obviously for a fair price, but the point is just stopping them from leaving in general. Now, back onto the topic about the fans, right? Because like I said, I've seen a lot of fans just go into this total, almost nasty direction, where some people are wishing death on some of them, which to me is just ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. Now, a lot of people are obviously saying Uli Hoeness out. I've seen a lot of these campaigns saying Uli Hoeness needs to leave, Uli out. A lot of these campaigns. I've seen some people actually say they're gonna start. Actually, no, I've seen a change.org petition to get Uli out, and I think what's that gonna do? What's that gonna do? Now again, for me, I actually like the contradiction. I know Uli Hoeness. There are some things that he's done lately, or there's some things that he's said lately. Not just lately, always really, but before you could get away with it, now not so much. But there's a few things that he's been doing lately, which a lot of fans really, really dislike. One of the things being his reason for appointing Niko Kovac, which was essentially that we don't need somebody who knows tactics, we don't need somebody who can explain to us what a false nine is, we don't need somebody who can come up with these intricate tactical plans. We just need someone who has that familiar atmosphere, which basically just means nepotism. That's basically what it is, nepotism. Promoting people just because they used to be part of the club. That's basically, or have some link to a club. That's really the main reason. That's basically the thing. That's basically his reasoning for appointing Niko Kovac. It wasn't really anything tactical. It was just familiar. So that's that. That's obviously rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. Me included. Me included. I think that's very out for. If you would have said something else, like say what he's done at Frankfurt is very astonishing. That's very good work. I would have been fair enough. But him saying his reason for that was just absolutely ridiculous. Then obviously the transfer thing as well, absolutely ridiculous. Because a lot of fans, as me included, we think we need new players in. I feel like we need one more winger in. And then obviously depending on who leaves, we'll have to adjust to that as well. But especially one more winger in. And them saying that we're now done is really, really, really bad. In my personal opinion. Now, again, the summer is long. The World Cup is coming up as well. And usually when there's a World Cup, we all can always expect new players. But the reason why I want players the most, personally, and that's from a personal perspective, is to get some excitement. Because usually I always look forward to a new season because of new players. Always, yeah, looking forward to a new season. They're thinking, what can this player do? What can this player achieve? How can he change the team? How can this player influence the team? How can he affect the team? And if we're saying that we're not going to get anyone else besides obviously Goretzka and Gnabry, it's a little underwhelming. Because Goretzka, I don't think he'll be a starter. I think he's going to get a lot of time as well, but I don't think he's going to be a starter. And then you have Gnabry, who is very, very effective, but also very, very raw. And I feel like I just want someone with a little bit more experience, or somebody with just a little bit more X factor. It doesn't even have to be that effective as effective as Gnabry, because Gnabry is very, very effective, but he's not he's not a highlight player in that sense. So for me, we need a winger with just like a different bit of a perspective. Someone like not so much someone like a Coman or someone like a Gnabry or someone like a Robin or someone like a Ribery, but someone more like a Douglas Costa. Someone who just offers something different. Who's very good at like a one-on-ones, just very good at like taking on his players. Maybe not as effective in front of goal, but someone who can just offer something different. I feel like that's what it really need. And that's what really gets the blood boiling, gets the blood pumping. But yeah, them two contradicting each other. While certainly it is a bad thing, I also think it's a good thing. I think it's a little bit overstated. I think people are just a little bit right now hesitant because obviously we just lost the DFB Pokal final, and now we're getting news that we're not really going to improve the team. So a lot of people obviously rubbed the wrong way. They're like, they're very angry, they're very furious, and they've got a good reason. I'm not saying you guys don't have a good reason. I personally am not really that furious. More so puzzled. I was more so puzzled really, but I still think that we're gonna get some players in, even if Uli Hoeness next week comes out and or tomorrow comes out and says no. Whatever Rummenigge said, whatever anyone said, we are going to we're not going to spend a single penny. Even if he came out tomorrow and said that, I still think we're gonna spend money. Because that's football. You don't really announce, oh yeah, we're gonna spend some money. Then other teams they'll raise their prices. That's just my thoughts. That's just my thoughts on the topic. I think personally it's a good thing they're disagreeing, because that means that they're going to do the right decision and not just agreeing. If both of them are wrong and if both of them agree to something, then it's going to lead to a wrong decision. But if like both of them have different opinions, I feel like we're going to ultimately come to the best decision, because there are still other members of the board, and then ultimately it's going to come to a more. It's going to come to a bigger decision than just them two deciding. It's going to be it's going to have multiple parties deciding the outcome of something. So from that perspective, I think it's a good thing, but I can also see why a lot of people really, really can't stand it. I know a lot of people are obviously siding with Rummenigge. I've seen a lot of people siding with Uli Hoeness too. So it's not just one or the other. I've seen both sides. The way I usually see it, and obviously it's the privilege and it's the privilege of being able to see or see and read what fans outside from Germany think, and seeing what fans inside from Germany think. For that I'm getting to see both perspectives, and from what I see is like most people in Germany are actually supporting Uli Hoeness in this matter, or in most matters really, and most people outside Germany are usually supporting Rummenigge. So there's just a nice little divide, which I think again it's very, very good to have, because ultimately everyone cares for the club and everyone sees the club going into a different direction, and what matters is ultimately the club has a direction, because if the club had no direction, that would be the worst part. But clearly you have two passionate people who care about the club, and quite frankly they are doing whatever they think is best for the club. So from that perspective, I'm just very glad that we have both of them, but I also feel like that we need to come to decisions maybe sometimes a little quicker, because sometimes we linger a little bit on onto things a little bit too long. Case in point, Uli Hoeness thinking that Jupp was gonna stay. That's a bad aspect of it, of course. But then good aspects would be something like not wasting money on, say, players, just because they're having a red hot form, just because they're doing well for a month or two, and then spending like a massive amount of money on them, and then those players not living up to the potential or living up to the price tag. So just from that perspective, I feel like having both of them is a very good thing to have. I know a lot of people will totally disagree with me on that one, but I don't really care. If you disagree, tell me in the comment section. Most of the times I read all the comments. I rarely reply, because I usually get them as a message on my phone and then I don't reply. But I do read the comments. So if you guys totally disagree with me, which I expect many people to do, go ahead and tell me why. And if you agree with me, then yeah, go ahead and tell me why exactly you think so too. If you're agreeing with me but on a different perspective, on a different variant. But yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Not exactly sure what I'm going to do yet tomorrow. I've got a few ideas planned for the week, but we'll see exactly. I'll see you guys tomorrow, and until then everyone, peace out and have a nice day.